Hello everyone, this is Instructor Laris, and today what I want to talk about is answering the Module 1 Assignment 2 discussion. In this assignment we are asked two questions. What I want to do is focus on the second question here, how the World Wide Web and accompanying technologies have changed the way society works and handles and interprets information. Whenever you answer a discussion question, you're going you're going to want to look at the grading criteria. You'll be graded on your initial response, your discussion participation, and then your writing, craftsmanship, and ethical scholarship. That's 8 points there. What I want to focus on now is the grading rubric. I want everybody to have a chance to go in and take a look at some of the requirements that you have for your different discussion questions. So if we look at the grading rubric, what's on this page, it says for an exemplary response that you have compiled, synthesized theories and concepts drawn from a variety of sources to support statements and conclusions. Now to me, that means that you've gone out and found information to back up your statements essentially, right? And the place to do that is in the online library. So I'm going to show you how to get into the online library. Now you can do this on Google, you can go out to the internet and do a search and get information, that's fine. I would not suggest that you put Wikipedia in your papers because your instructors will come back and say that that's not a credible source. Now if you find other credible sources out on the internet, that's fine. But what I want to do is go in and show you how to get to the online library. So if you click on Academic Resources at the top here, it'll bring you to a page and you can click on a link called Library, and that should open up the online library. Let's see. I've already done this, but this takes you to the home page. And I would suggest for your first couple of tries and using the library, don't use the quick search because it's a lot of information and you do have to know a little bit about doing the research. What my suggestion to you will be is to go into the Find Articles section. And what I want you to do is use the ProQuest Central database first. Alright? The reason I say that is because ProQuest Central is one of our larger databases. Now the first thing when you get into ProQuest Central to do is to change the databases that you have access to. Now my response is going to be specifically about social media. So I'm going to choose Select All because I think in all these databases there's going to be something interesting about social media probably. So once I've selected a database, I go down, or selected all the databases for this particular question, I'll go to the Use Selected Databases button and click that. Next, what I want to do is click on the Advanced Search. The Advanced Search will allow me to mix and match my terms. So I can take one term and then put in another term here. And the AND is what it's called. These are Boolean operators. What the AND does is it limits the search to whatever those two terms are. Alright? You'll see the OR search over here, or the OR, allows you to expand your search. So if I had two terms that were similar, like social media and social networking, they're similar. I might use those two terms. If I hit the drop down button, I've got not. That's the third Boolean operator that I can use, and that will just exclude terms for my search. So in this case, what I want to do is look for, I want to focus on, let's see, what out of here? Well, social media. Social media is something I'm interested in, so I'm going to choose social media. And I'm just going to copy that from, if I highlight it and hit Control C, I can copy it. I'm going to go here and I'm going to Control V to paste it. Now because it's a phrase, I want to put quotation marks around it so I don't get results that say social or media. I want it as a phrase that's together. I'm going to put in society, and then I'm going to put in affect. So how is it affecting society? Alright. I could also use effect, but I'm thinking that effect is the term that I want to use. Now next what I'm going to do is always make sure that I hit the full text button here. That's going to make sure that I get our journal articles. If I don't do that, I might just get citations and not usable information. There's also peer reviewed here, and peer reviewed is a process where articles are deemed credible by other experts within the field. So if for other research papers you're going to want to use peer reviewed. I'm not going to do it just because I'm for this particular assignment, just because I want to have you guys get the feel of how to use the online library. So next I'm going to click search, and this is where I'll get my results back. So some of these are looking pretty good. This first one here says that it's Saudi society, so I'm not sure if that I'm really interested in that. And also we've included dissertations, so not going to use that one. How society networks can affect how social media networks can affect society negatively. That looks interesting as well. This one looks interesting as well. What social media are doing to society, researchers delve into effects. I like the fact that it's talking about researchers, so I'm going to click on that one. That's going to bring up the full text of the article. At this point, you'll just have to read through and see what's going on in the article, but I've already read through it, and I'm zeroed in on this here. And you know, one of the things that is happening with social media is that people are becoming less private, essentially. So more and more, you've heard that, I'm sure, more and more personal information is getting put out on the internet. So you really have to be careful with your privacy. So what I've done is I started writing on a Word document, and I like doing my discussion questions on a Word document first because, one, I think it's easier to find spelling errors. You can do a grammar check a little bit easier here. And so I just started typing something out. Hopefully everyone can read that. But what I want to do is go in, and I'm actually using a flip camera for this. I wanted to use Jing, but didn't seem to be working for me. So this is my paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this section here and copy this information, which is fine. You can do that as long as you cite it. And so the next piece that I'm going to show you is how to properly cite in your paper. Now what I'll do is I need to find out who the author is and the year of the publication. So if I scroll up, I'll see that Pilecki is the author and the year is 2012, which is great because that means it's a newer article. So if I go back to my document, I can type in according to and then the author's name and then the year, okay, followed by a comma and then a quote, the beginnings of a quote. So I've got according to and then the author, but I've got a misspelling there, and then 2012, a comma, and then a quotation mark here. Alright, next what I can do is to get rid of that, I will paste that information in there, Facebook, so on and so forth. This is the actual quote that I copied from the article. Next what I'll do is add a quotation mark at the end, followed by in parentheses the word para for paragraph. Now if I had an actual article in front of me or a PDF document, I could look at the page numbers and figure out which one it was on. But if I scroll down the page, I have to count each one of these as an individual paragraph, and I'll see that on the 21st paragraph is my quotation. So I need to put in para 21, followed with a ending off the parentheses, and then the period goes at the end. We don't put our period here, it goes at the very end, okay? The cool thing about going into the databases as opposed to going out to the internet is that you can get an APA style reference already created, so you don't have to figure out, who is the author, when was it published, so on and so forth. If we go to the article and scroll up, there is a button at the top of the page that says Cite. If I click on Cite, it's going to bring up, and you'll probably have to do this the first time, change your particular computer to APA 6th edition, because you'll have a number of them to choose from, but you just use APA 6th edition and then change, and then it comes up here, and then we'll just copy it and paste it. Alright, sometimes you'll get what is called the DOI, or Digital Object Identifier. This one says retrieved from and then the website. This is not exactly correct. You don't need to put the URL in there, because if somebody else comes by, copies this and pastes it into their URL or into their address bar up here window, they're not going to get to the same article, and that's the reason why we tell people where the article is. So I'm going to copy that and then I'll paste it in, and alright, just pull it up a little bit. And the other thing that needs to be done is it needs to be a hanging indent. So if you highlight it, right click and go to paragraph, you have to go to special and click on hanging. I don't know if this always works within in the discussion rubric, but as long as you have the information there, I'm happy with it. I changed this to italicized because that's the name of the journal. I get rid of that extra 0, and then I add, instead of retrieve from that URL, I'll just say retrieve from ProQuest database, and that is my citation, my in-text citation. I can go on and fulfill the rest of the discussion question. I've got a reference here. Your instructors are going to be so happy that you took the time to do this that you're probably going to get an A on every discussion question that you get. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or to give me a phone call, and we can walk through what is expected of you on these various assignments. Again, I thank you, and I'll see you in class.